Okay, we're going to make some pot roast today. Now, this is not your mother's pot roast. This is not the soggy version of, you know, just throwing it in a crock pot and getting it done. There is a secret to getting a nice brown crust on it, and that has to do with sauteing it up first in a big, huge skillet. What I have in my skillet is some olive oil that I'm heating nicely so it gets nice and hot. You don't ever want to put something into a pan that's cold. Then the oil just gets absorbed up into whatever it is that you're cooking. So I'm getting the olive oil nice and hot, and you can tell when it's hot because it runs really well and really easily. Okay, so I've got some nice hot olive oil there, and all I have here is a great big piece of beef. Okay, this is eye of the round, and you want to make sure when you're doing a pot roast, you need something that is applicable for a slow cooking type of a thing. Now, if you took filet mignon, for example, and put that in there, not going to work. It's going to get that tender piece of meat is going to get tough. So this tough piece of meat, the slow cooking, is going to make it tender. So what I have here is just your basic piece, and you can see it's a chuck. You can get chuck roast. There's all kinds of stuff that you can use. A round steak would work. I like this eye of the round. This is the end of the eye of the round, and it works really well. The little salt and pepper is really all we're doing. And what we're trying to do is get a brown crust on the outside of it. It doesn't take too long. Turn it over. Same kind of a thing, and we're getting it lightly browned. A little more pepper and a little more salt. A little salt will bring out the flavor. Too much salt will toughen it up. So make sure that you're kind of judicious with the salt at this point. And it doesn't have to be a long time. Some people like it browner than others. To me, it's just a matter of getting that outside browned and crusted up. In the meantime, over here, I've got my crock pot already on high, all ready to go. So in 4 hours, I'm going to have a gorgeous pot roast. It really depends on crock pots, on how those things work. Because sometimes you'll get a crock pot that's a little bit older and it takes a whole lot longer. Sometimes you'll have a newer crock pot and you'll just be very surprised at how quickly this crock pot works. My suggestion, or crock cooker is what we call it, my suggestion is that you try everything before leaving the house for 12 hours to make sure you don't come home to a burnt offering. That's my hint of the day. Okay, so just turn it a little bit on its side for a minute. Again, we just want it browned all the way around. You see that? I mean, it really doesn't take that long, and we don't need it to take that long. Okay, it is now officially browned all over. We just take it and we place it in the crock pot, and now we do the rest of it. Okay, here's where it gets good. You remember all that, look at that brown stuff on the bottom. You remember what that's called? That's called fond, F-O-N-D. And fond is the caramelized sugars that was in the meat. And now we just dump our vegetables in there. And what I have are baby carrots. I've got some turnips. I've got kohlrabi, which is, to me, they look like little alien spaceships. They're kind of weird looking. It's a root vegetable. To me, it tastes a lot like a broccoli stem would taste. And all I'm doing is doing the same thing here. I'm bringing out the natural sugars of the vegetables in everything that I just did. I've got a little garlic in there too. And if you'll notice, take a look at that. What you've got there, do you see all that brown on there? And you can smell those onions starting to come up. It's just pulling out the natural sugars in the vegetables. This is what makes it taste a lot less like stew and gives each of those vegetables an individual flavor, and it just really makes it nice. And again, you don't have to do this for very long, just a little bit. Now I'll turn off the stovetop, and let's get this in on top of the pot roast. And now what we'll do is we will take, I've got beef broth here. I'm adding it to the pan just to pull up everything that's left. In this bowl, I have tomatoes with a shot of red wine. I have a can of 15-ounce tomatoes and I have about a quarter of a cup of red wine. So first of all, go ahead and pour those tomatoes over the top with the red wine. And then you're going to add, and I just kind of, I don't measure. I just kind of go over the top and make it nice and juicy looking. A little oregano. And then this is probably about, I'd say probably about a good heaping teaspoon of thyme. And I just kind of put that over the top of everything. And later on, while this is cooking, I'm going to put just a pinch of sugar over the top and give it a good stir. What this does is it pulls the acidity down on the tomatoes and it makes it a lot nicer and gives it good flavor and brings the true tomato flavor out without all that acid. Okay, so we've got that set up. Now we're going to take our pan, pull up the rest of the fond that's on the bottom, where we just put all that beef broth. And I've got a couple little scraggly vegetables in there, which is all great and fine. And that, let me see if I can touch that. No, I cannot. That is, see, I found an onion. Look at that. That's going to go right over the top of everything. Just like that. Okay, a couple things I want to explain here in the crock pot. When you're cooking with a crock pot, you have to have your crock pot at least 2/3 full. I have more than half full here, so I'm good. You also need some liquid. You need the liquid to come up at least halfway on whatever it is that you're making, which I have too. And you have to also remember, depending on what it is that you're making, like for example, if you're making beans, beans aren't going to make their own liquid. However, a piece of beef will. So you can go a little skimpier on the beef if you want. So that's it. And basically, like I always say about our crock pots, it is your indentured servant. It's going to do all the work while you go do something like have your nails done or go play tennis with your friends or whatever, or wash the bathroom, clean the bathroom up, whatever, do the laundry. Anyway, there we go. You've got a crock roast that is going to knock your socks off in just 4 hours.